And good afternoon, everybody. How is everyone? I think I'm the
Good.
only one here to keep letting people in. So I'm going to open up with a song today. Has nothing to do with the class today. Maybe it won't, but it really isn't. I haven't played the song in a while, and I thought it'd be a fun way to open up a class with some beautiful music for you. This is actually from the the theme song through the from Ice Castles. All right, and it's called "Through the Eyes of Love," theme from Ice Castles. right. Well, hope you enjoyed that. Anyone goes back and watches this, go, why does he keep standing up? I have to go admit people in the room. So I was worried about that. Standing up while I'm holding a fill-in. Well, that was, it's become one of my favorite ballads. Of course, I like all the ballads that I play. And Through the Eyes of Love. So anyway, so today what I thought we'd do is have a little fun with, I know over the course of virtual lessons and online classes we've done over the years, we've touched on this a couple times. But a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, when I started talking about custom buttons, as I was going through the custom buttons, let me see how I have this organ set up here real quick. Right now it's set up by the factory. So this is the factory settings. So let me change my screen here. Let's see here, left, right. Okay. Okay. So as I was going through some of the features and saving features into the organ, I came across one that I actually got an email on, because I always say if you want to learn something, send me an email. It's either I come up with an idea or I hear it from a student. But one of the features, we were talking about saving features onto the custom buttons. One of the features that I came across, and I'm going to just pull it up on the screen for a minute. I think I'm going to do it this way for the camera. So when you touch feature clear on your organ, okay, you're going to get, most of these are going to be listed. There's a few additional ones depending on the model you have. But you know, I just turn on features. It says page 1 at the top there. And as you scroll through, there's a plethora of different features in the instrument. Lower sound effects. And I think it was last week that we came to this here. And it was touch bar foot switches or pedal natural black. And basically, touch bar, foot switches, and pedal natural black. So I'm going to teach you how to use all 3 of those in one lesson. Now, it doesn't matter which one I choose to talk about because the function is the same on all 3. So let me say that again. So on your instrument, if you have one touch bar, there are some models that have just one touch bar. Okay, you can change, and I'll just start with the touch bar. Okay, it'll just show up 1 setting instead of 2. For those of you who have the 2 touch bars, you obviously it's going to say left and the right. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to the feature. So you see touch bar, and then you have foot switches. Let me touch the foot switches. This is referring to your volume pedal, the left and the right foot switch. Some people refer to it as a kick switch. It's the switch that's on the left and the right, and the expression pedal or volume pedal as you know it. Okay? And then you have pedal natural / black. Okay? So all of the bass pedals, you can change the natural and the black notes or the natural. All right? So essentially, I'm going to come here for a second. So you either have 1 touch bar or 2. All right. On your expression pedal here, you have a switch there and you have a switch there. Okay, that's the left and right. And then these are called natural. Okay, so in other words, like your white keys. Now, I know a lot of you know that, but if someone's very new in the hobby and they hear the word natural, they may not understand what the word natural means. It's basically all of the white notes that you would play on a keyboard. These white notes are the same here. Now, I think Lowrey could have made it really easy by making the pedals white. But I don't know how nice that would look. You have this beautiful wood cabinet, and all of a sudden your pedals, you got white pedals, right? So they made them wood. But that's the white notes is called naturals, and these pedals, these notes here are natural. And then of course the black is black notes, okay? So they didn't put that in sharps of flats. They called it natural and the black. So I can pick one option, and in this case I'm going to do touch bar just because you'll be able to see what I'm doing as I'm going back and forth. It'll be a little bit easier. But anything that you can change this. Now I don't quote me on this, but you can do maybe some research. Every model is a little different. But I want to say the Royale, when it first introduced this concept of changing the touch bar, you were able to change it up to 16 different ways, I think. Okay? If you look in your owner's manual and just look for touch bar, it'll tell you how many functions. I want to say it's up to 15 or 16. As the instruments progressed through the years and the newer models were introduced, that number grew. It might have grown to up to 23, 20, maybe 24 different options. Some of you have an owner's manual, or you could. I'll tell you what it is on this model when we do it, because I'll scroll through it and we can count together. Okay? So there are a bunch of things that you can change on this touch bar. We may get through all of them today. We may get through only some of them. Okay? Anything that I change on the touch bar can be changed to do the same thing on the foot switches and the pedals as well. So essentially, you can change this touch bar to do something. It could be a sound effect. You can change this touch bar to do something other than the fill, or keep it that way. If you think you're going to use that for that, and then down here you can make this touch switch do a different function. You can make the left switch do a different function. You can make this do a different function, and you can make that do a different function. Okay, so you could have up to 6 different things happening at the same time. The way you change them, it's the same procedure. It's just a matter of which one do you want to change. Okay, some people like to just change the pedals because it's easy for them to just stomp on this pedal. As an example, when I do one of my patriotic numbers, in the very beginning, the only thing I have programmed here is an airplane flying by. And I have it set that way, so all I have to do is stomp. I don't have to look. Okay? Some of the artists, they put splash cymbals on here, and a splash cymbal there. Or some of you may have heard of, remember seeing Jim Vogelman. He had some of these amazing arrangements, but he had these touch bars programmed with certain things that he couldn't be able to get to fast enough to change it. He'd spend 5 minutes just trying to find the sound effect, get into it, so they save them. And then anything you do can be saved on a preset. I think I'm going to stand up now. My knees are getting cramped. Okay? So I'm going to come back up here for a second. And what I'm going to do is put the, let's see, I'm going to reset my presets first, just to get them to the, actually I'll leave them there just in case. Let me bring back the, what page was it on? Touch bar, okay? So by default, many of you know that the left touch bar, if you only have one, the one touch bar is typically programmed with the fill in. If you have two, typically the left is the touch bar, or the FX, I'm sorry, the fill in or FX. And the right by default is glide. I know a lot of students that like using the glide on the touch bar, which if you are one of those, I personally think it would be easier to put it on the left bar than the right bar. Because there's a certain technique when it comes to using the glide, and if you have to take your hand off and move it over to touch the right touch bar, there's a little bit of coordination involved. All right? So these are the default ones. I'll just pick, well, we'll do the right touch bar. Okay? So you just touch it, and then you scroll, and then you have all of these options. So obviously you could put the fill in there if you want. All right, and just for the sake of someone brand new in the hobby or newer to the, I hear a lot of chatter online where I see and hear people saying, I just got this Lowrey Stardust, I couldn't pass it up, anybody help me out? It's a lot of times it tells me they're not used to using the touchscreen organ. So I want to do this assuming you don't know what the word FX or fill-in is, okay? So if I have a rhythm on, let's say I have my presets on from the one earlier. Okay. So your FX or your touch or fill-in, I'm going to turn this down so you can hear me talking. But basically the fill-in right now is fill and glide. So if I touch that, it does the fill-in. Okay. The glide is, you know, a lot of people know that it's on the foot switch, but it takes the note. Oh, I have an instrument that's not gliding right now. So let me put on a trombone or something like that. Okay, so there is the trombone, the glide. All right, and what we'll do is we'll go through the function. So now I'm going to put, here's one, tap tempo. Show of hands, anybody use the tap tempo? No? Now tap tempo, I see one hand. All right, tap tempo is a little tricky. Before I show you how to use it, here's the tip that I want to give you now. Don't tap the beat. Don't use this feature while the rhythm is playing. Okay? So in other words.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me get rid of this audio there.
Yeah. Okay. So don't use this feature while the rhythm is playing. And here's what tap tempo does. This idea, I don't know where it originated, but I remember when I started in the business in '93, at that time, there were a lot of trade-ins that we were taking in because there was Hammond organs, there was Baldwin's was making organs, there was Wurlitzers, there was all these wonderful organs that were around. And the Hammond, I remember seeing a Hammond organ actually have this option on it. So when I saw it on Lowrey, I thought, oh, this is cool. And the idea of tap tempo is this, and I'm sure it's happened to you at least once, maybe more than once. It happens to me a lot. I find a song that I want to play. I pick a rhythm that I like to try with it. Sometimes it's the one that goes with it. Sometimes it's just, I want to try a different rhythm. And I'm listening to it, and I hear the tempo, and then I try to adjust it, and it just doesn't seem right to me. And I'm trying to get that right number. But I know it's something like this. That's kind of the speed that I want to play, whatever it is I'm playing, okay? So as an example, let me put on a rhythm that's typically pretty fast. Let's see here. How about, here's one, Razzmatazz. That comes up at a tempo of 200, all right? All right. Now the way I hear it is like that. If you just listen to it, it almost feels like it's, okay? But in reality, it's counting like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I want to slow that down to play whatever song that I want to play. I'm going to back up to what I said. If you're going to use this feature, do not try to do it while the tempo is playing. Or the rhythm is playing, because if you hear the rhythm playing, we tend to almost tap to close to the beat, and you may not get it right. So I say, select the rhythm you want to have, listen to it. Maybe you think to yourself, I need to change that tempo. So if I want to do, on 1, 2, this is going like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's a little too fast for me. I might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if that's what you want, then you take your touch bar. Let me make sure it's back on the tap tempo. And that's how you tap it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what will happen when you do that, the tempo will automatically change, And in this case, it went down to 126. 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, if you want to try to do it a little faster, 1, 2, 3, it's kind of hard to find the right tempo when you have that beat going behind it, because it's almost human nature to try to follow the beat that you hear. So if I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a little faster, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's up to 152. And if you just keep tapping, the number will change. Watch. 157, 165, 161, 162. I just keep tapping. But really, if you just stop and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's at 162 now. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, you have to remember that if you're using tap tempo, it's there. It's not going to go away. So if it's, in this case, I have it on the right touch bar. So if you go about your business and you start playing and you forget that it's there and you start using that touch bar for other things, guess what's going to happen? Nothing's happening, and all of a sudden, I just changed my tempo by accident. Now, I believe you EX owners have that feature on the touch bar, but you also have a separate button for that. Is that correct, Gary?
Yes.
He's nodding his head yes, and he's giving me thumbs up. Is there anybody with an Inspire or a Rialto on today? Send me a smoke signal. Send me a chat. I believe you also have that feature. However, I'm not 100% accurate on that, but it would be a great thing to get with your PA. You can even get with us afterwards, and I can always look it up in the book very easily. Okay? So there's a separate button for that. All right?
By the way, I just looked it up. The Royale had 19 functions and the Aria's got 21, so not much difference.
Well, there you go. Straight from Ontario, Canada.
Exactly, the manual.
It's all right. So you got a lot of things. So we'll go through. It's probably I'm not going to get through all of them. I just realized I talked a lot just about tap tempo. Okay, let me come back up here. I might zip through a few. Some are self-explanatory. There's one in here that's not as. Sometimes I explain it right, and sometimes I don't. So that's tap tempo. Okay, so these next two functions, it says start, stop, and auto start, stop. Okay? There is a difference between the two. All right, you all see that? Start, stop, and auto start, stop. So I'm going to leave that there for a second, and then I'm going to come back to the organ with me and explain the difference. All right? Okay. So, this one tends to confuse people. And like I said, I'm going to do my best to explain it. The start-stop is an easy one to explain because well, they're really both, but how you would use them might be a little bit different. So right now it's on start-stop. Okay? Start-stop means exactly what it says. That when you have a rhythm going, let me put on one of my settings here. Oh, my settings are set with glide, but let me just put it back. All right. So right now, I have start-stop in the window and the right touch bar. Okay, you can do this anywhere, any one of these. If you touch the touch bar at this point, it'll start the rhythm that I have selected. Okay? And if I touch it again, it will stop it, plain and simple. But here's a little trick here. So right here, start, and I'm playing. Okay, and I can stop it. All right. The trick is if you have that set up, watch what happens when I continue to play now. rhythm's not there, is it? I have to either press start, stop again, or I have this set to start it. So the trick with the start, stop is it'll stop it, but it won't begin again the minute I hit a chord. Okay? So there is a difference that this would be used if you were doing this. Now let me jump to auto start stop and then come back to just start stop. Okay? Auto start stop, because a lot of times what happens is we're playing a song and then sometimes we'll stop it and then we'll play a little something, and then the minute we strike the chord, the band comes back in. So I'll use this. In this song, I might do something like this. Now again, this is set for auto start stop. Okay? Okay, so did you see what happened? I played a part of the song. I activated the auto start stop, which basically means the rhythm stopped. And then I played a few notes. And you don't have to play both hands. You could have easily gone. And then when you're ready to pick back up again, just strike your chord. Can you see my chord? My left hand? This angle. Okay, sorry, I don't know if you could see that. But it basically started playing the minute I hit the chord. So there, you may have a song where you're playing along, and maybe you get to a part of the song, you just want to play a few of the melody notes without the rhythm. You could either reach up and hit the start stop, or you can program it on your touch bar or wherever, and it'll stop. Auto start means that the minute you strike the chord, the band will start back up again. Okay? That one is very commonly used with people who like one of those two options. The start stop, on the other hand, would be used differently. How I would use it if I was playing a song is I'll use the exact same song, same example, okay? But this time, I'll stop it, and I'm going to continue to play, and watch what happens. I'm going to actually play the left hand, but the band will not play. Listen. So take it from here. Oh, let me use the start stop feature. I'm playing the left chord. And then if I want to start it again. Does that make a little sense? So I was able to continue playing, but when I was playing the chord, it doesn't matter what style of chord you're playing, the band didn't play. So once it stops, it won't automatically start back up when you strike the chord in that case. But it's designed so if you're playing a song for that reason, to do it that way. You start off with the rhythm, you press start, stop, play a few notes with the chord, start it back up, though you have to do this. So one more time. Start, stop here, and I'm going to play the chord with it. One finger. Because it won't start back up again, because that's how I have it, the feature being used. And then I can start it back up. Okay? So if you start working with that feature and you have any questions, contact a personal assistant and maybe they can give you some more FYIs on that. But so that I like to explain that one because they're very similar. The auto start, again, tends to be a little more popular because a lot of times people will do, and I know I'm repeating myself, but we learn by repetition. And the auto start option, that way, when you stop it, and then the chord will start the rhythm again. So that's a little bit easier. Now this is always a fun one. Okay, transpose. Transpose up. Now you all have a transpose button on the organ. And I think it's a little bit different place on a lot of the organs. On the A models, I believe it's to the left of the window. On the EX models, I want to say it's towards the left above the upper keyboard. Is that correct, Aria Grand Marquee?
Yes.
Yes.
Whew. I'm glad I got that right. This is being recorded. Okay? But even over there, it involves you taking your hands off the keys. So this is a great feature to use. And especially when you're dealing with a lot of easy play music, or like in this case, when I played this song, when I got towards the end of the song, let's see, I was playing this part here. Okay. Now I reach up and I hit the transpose, but you know, I like to use my right foot switch for the fill-in. So really, if I was smart, I'll get there someday. I would probably program the left touch bar with the transpose. Maybe not the right, because to me, you have to always move over. So let me do the same thing on the left. I'm going to just go up to transpose up. So when I get to this preset here, transpose up before I go to my next setup. Well, if I was smart, maybe I would program the transpose on the touch bar so it would go something like this. I got my filling going with my kick switch. All I have to do is touch the touch bar. And it's a great way to just transition from, and that's sort of in the middle of the song. There's a lot of songs out there we tend to wait till the end, and then we repeat, and before we repeat, we use the transpose. And the simple basic rule of thumb, if you call it that, is that it's always best that when you're getting to a certain part of a song, or if you're going on a repeat, transpose up. It goes in half steps. Just do it once. But sometimes you can really, if you do it once and then do it again in another measure or two, that'll work too. Listen. Put it back. It could work, but I probably would stick with just a half step. That's what my ears are telling me. Okay? So, and again, I want to reiterate what I said earlier. Any change we make to the touch bar, you can also do on the kick switches, the foot switches, or the pedals on the natural or the black. So it's just a matter of you choosing which one you want to use that's going to be comfortable for you. Okay? Let's see, where was I? Okay, so these next two are pretty cool. Increase tempo or decrease tempo. It's pretty cool. You want to start off with a song at a certain speed, and partway through you want to increase the tempo or decrease it. You can maybe put decrease on the right and put the increase on the left, however it depends on the song. When I do New York, New York, towards the end of the song, again, this is if I was smart, I'd use this feature. I actually do everything manually on the organ. So let me pull up my presets here real quick. New York, New York. Actually, I have them saved in the. But let me do the one I do when I do it in concert. Okay. Okay. So when I play New York, New York. Okay, I start off like this. Let me show you what I do. And I say, someday I'm going to program it so this is built into this, so I don't have to do it. So a lot of times I'm at a part of a song. There we go. So I'm in this part of the song. I'm doing this. Now you can hear it's a little bit slower, but when I'm doing that in concert, I know that I have to get to that tempo. So what's happening is as I'm playing the song, it's a little easier taking it from the middle of the song or towards the end. But as I'm playing, when I get to that part, I have a certain setting, and then I pull up the keyboard and I keep playing. Then I dial 100 and I get it ready in the screen. And then when I get to that part, I stop it and I press tempo. It's a lot of work, really. So essentially, if I was smart, what I do is I might use
Your presets.
I could put it in a preset, or in some of the songs where I don't have to do a drastic change in the tempo, I might just decrease it down here as I was doing it. So in this case, I would probably do it on a preset, because that song, there's a lot of chords happening. I don't want to even have to hold. But if I had it on decreased tempo as an example, and I touched and I held it until I got to 110. Now, the word of caution would be this. You got to be careful if you're using that feature on increase or decrease, because let's say I'm going to put it on increase tempo. Once you start holding it, okay, if you don't keep an eye on your tempo, it starts going, the numbers, and then it starts zipping through. So it was like 120, 110, 30, 30. Anyways, this is the next thing you know was at 230, 25. And next thing you have a rhythm like this. Whew. Imagine dancing, doing the kick dances. That'd be a good workout, though, if you want to burn some calories. All right. And I like the option of having your intros and endings here. You got your intro ending 1, your intro ending 2, and it's self-explanatory. Now if you only have one intro button, it'll just say intro ending, okay? Fade in and fade out. I'll talk about that on another day. We'll dive into the fade in, fade out. But that's pretty simple. Now, again, assuming you've just gotten an organ like this that has some of these cool features, fade in and fade out works before you start playing the rhythm and after the rhythm is in action, okay? So in this, let me put this tempo back to normal here. Let's see, feature. Oh, let me bring it back. All right, so if I activate this feature before I even start the rhythm, I'm going to touch the touch bar right now. You can't see it, but I just touched it. Your fade in, fade out button will show up. Some of you have one fade in, fade out button. Some of you have the two buttons together. Okay? And like on this type of panel, should I say, the Sterlings and the Patriots and a lot of models with this layout, the fade in and fade out button is over here. It might be someplace different on the EXs and the EYs. Some of the organs actually have where you have the intro and the ending, you press the two together and it gives you the fade in and fade out. So basically how it works is before you play the song, in this case, I have it set up the fade in and fade out. That's why it's called fade in / out, because before you start, when you touch it, I didn't fade in, did it? Oh, there we go. So I don't know if you heard it gradually coming in. And as you're playing, okay, when you press the fade out, fade in, fade out as it's playing, then it'll do the opposite. You got to beware, because if you keep playing, eventually it's going to go back to normal. And then it just comes back in. Okay? Now, there's a cool feature with that where you can actually go in and change how long or short you want your fade in and fade out. Okay? Oops, we'll go back up here. And of course, you can have it do nothing at all. No chord, NC, commonly known as the smash or the 3 fingers, or in some of the organs it's 4 notes, or commonly known as a smash. Instead of smashing and hitting your keyboard, you could just program the left touch bar to have that. So as you're playing, as an example, this rhythm here, let's see, let's put on Duke's Blues. So I have the left touch bar programmed for no chord. Okay? And the touch bar, the minute I touch it, all the band goes away. Change the camera here. So so I could either do the smash, okay? And the trick with that is just getting enough of the notes. You got to have, on a lot of the models, it's 3 notes consecutively, like it could be F, and yet counting the black notes. If you do F, G, A, it won't work. It just plays a chord. So I see a lot of people when they do that, they actually do the note chord like this, and they're playing long. And then they go like this. I think it's a little much effort for you having to do that, because when you're playing, you have to concentrate on hitting the right notes, you know. And then if you don't get it right, then you start doing that. Do you ever do that? You ever? Yeah. You can't strangle anything. It's bigger than you. Okay. Or some of the organs, it was 4. At one time in the earlier phase of this concept, it was 4 notes consecutive. So that's why the term smash came out, because they figured if you smashed enough notes together, then you were sure to get it. But every now and then didn't get it. So you could just program that in the touch bar, and that might be a lot easier to use. Again, remember, you have 6 different places you can program these. So if you say, no, this bar has got to be with my fill-in, and that's that. Well, maybe you put the pedal natural as that note chord. So when you're playing, you don't even have to look, because it sets all the pedals down there, and just all you have to do is tap it, you know? So now here's one that's really cool. It actually says chord minor. So some people, I'll go through a couple. It says chord minor, chord 7th, chord diminished. Okay? And basically, it does just that. Now we have a lot of students that learn to play their minor chords with easy play or the 3-finger, but you know, so here's the easy C chord. Now it's a minor chord, a 7th chord, or a diminished chord, which is a little trickier because you need to play at least, I forget, it's on the easy play, it's at least 2 notes, but you got to know the system. So you can change that to whatever chord you want. And then there is one called Sostenuto, but I have to read back up on that. I learned it once and then I forgot what it does.
Holds the note when you play the other keyboard.
Oh, it holds the note, doesn't it?
Yep. So you can play the other keyboard.
Let me see if I can do this real quick. Okay, so this one I may not use on the touch bar. I might actually program it on a foot switch or a pedal, depending on if you keep your foot in the foot switch or not. So what I'm going to do is go to my foot switches, and I'm going to make the left foot switch Sostenuto, okay? So as you saw it on the screen, it says Sostenuto. And I have, what do we have here? Strings, preset 4. So I want to play something like, okay, so if I want, I can hit a C note. I put the left foot switch with Sostenuto, and it holds that note. If I did it right. Why is it not working? Am I doing this wrong? Hold on. Now it's not doing it. Well, for some reason it's not working the way I want, so I'll have to come back to that one. It was holding it a little while ago. I'll pick up on that next week. There's three others that I want to show here. Pull this up here. So if you have, it's called Vibratrem. Okay, now I'm on the left foot switch right now, but same thing, you change it. And this is controlling the flute tabs, your flutes. Okay, and back in the organ days, what a lot of organ players did is as they were playing, especially with their, I got to put it back to factory so I get some of the Hammond sounds. Reset, presets. Let's see, reset, presets. Okay. So they'd have an organ sound. Now we bring back the foot switches and put this on Vibratrem. So what happened is a lot of times when organ players were playing, let me put on a swing rhythm with this. Let's see, something like. Okay. So right now I have just a standard Franken the Count going. I have Vibratrem on the left foot switch right now. So a lot of times what happens, they play while they're holding down their chord sound, or if you're doing a harmony. You hear the organ sound, the tremolo. Now if I tap the switch, because I have the Vibratrem off, it activates on the left side here these Vibratrems. It says fast and slow. Okay, so if I hold down a chord, it's on fast. Watch what happens when I do slow. Okay? So whatever sound you have on, can you hear the difference? Slowing down. But what they do is, as they were playing, is they would do that. In fact, what I'm going to do is put on a harmony so I don't have to play chords. Now, a lot of players would do that manually on their own while they're playing. On here, you'd have to reach over and touch. You imagine having to constantly do it. And they did it quite often while they were playing the song, too. And they held the chord, and then the tremolo slowed down, and then it came back in. It was just a really cool effect to add. So if I was using it, I would probably put it in my foot switch. So that way I keep my foot in there, and then I can easily tap it to get to it. Okay? And I think there's only a couple more in this list.
Robert?
Yes?
Sostenuto, you have to hit the note first and then do the sostenuto.
All right. We'll come right back to that. You heard it straight from Canada again. Thank you, sir. All right, let me just All right, let's go back to, well, sound effects. Well, that could be a whole class in itself. So fake it. You see fake it? So if you have the fake it feature, you can program a touch bar, foot switch, or what have you. To me, if you like using the fake it, it's a pretty clever idea to have the fake it in the touch bar or the foot switch. So that way you don't have to reach up, take your hand off the keys, and reach up and hit the button to activate it. And then you can very quick. If it was me using this feature, putting it on a touch bar foot switch, I probably would put it on a touch bar as well. Maybe the foot switch, depending on how you like that. The light show is pretty self-explanatory. It just turns on their light show, okay? And then sound effects is really cool because, again, I've seen some artists, when they play a song, they have a sound effect in the left foot and the right foot, and then on the touch bar they may have a bird and a rooster or something, and then on the pedals they might have 6 different sound effects programmed, so when they're playing their song, it's appropriate for that part of the song. Okay? And basically how that works, I'm going to leave it there for a second. When you activate what you want to change, then to change the sound, you have to actually select the sound. So you can go through, and now I'm going to touch the left switch, and I'm going to hit the birds. Boink. Bubble. Etc., etc. Okay? All right, etc., etc. I could stop there, but I'm having fun doing it. Yeah, one day I was running late to work, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got a Zoom class, I better hurry up. Yeah, and then I started going really fast. And then I had to stop because, wait, people are getting in my way, and then I had to stop because I didn't want to run over the kitty. Okay. No extra cost for that. I just made that story up. All right. So back to Sostenuto. So basically, let me just turn this off. Let me put on, what did I have? Strings? Okay. So I'm going to go back to Sostenuto. So what happens is as you're playing, so I'm going to hold this note, so I activate it, and now it holds the note. So a little something fun you can do there. And that's a song you can actually play and do that, because if you just hold the C note the entire time, you could actually play that entire song without having to change chords, even though the easy play music shows chord changes, which you can do as well. So a lot of fun there. All right, and let me just pull up something here. Okay.
How did you turn it off? Did you just hit it again?
You just let go of the switch.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So let me back up. So when I was holding the note, what I did, because I had the feature programmed on the left foot switch, I touched the left foot switch and I kept my foot there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay? And then when I was done, I just released my foot and then it stopped. Okay? All right. Now, let me just see before I play this. Okay, I haven't done these in a while, so we'll see what happens here. Oh, I have it in the book. Maybe I better use my own book. I'm going to play one song before you go here. Let's see here.
Robert,
Yes,
yeah, I've got one question.
sure.
When you set something up for the touch bar, when you shut your organ off and then turn it on, does it stay or do you have to reset it
It
again?
goes away. The only way you'll save it is you save it on a preset. If you noticed a few times when I was doing the setups that I did for Theme for Ice Castles, I was using that preset to show examples. And I had to keep going back to it because I had my presets in the organ. So what was happening is when I was using my own presets, it kept changing it, okay? Now, when you're using rhythm presets, let me just see. I noticed it didn't change on me. Let me just go to touch bar and make FX to auto start stop. Now, let me just see what happens if I just go to another rhythm. Oh, changed the screen, but let's see if it's there. So in this case, that feature remained available to me, okay? And it didn't change on me. But the reason why I kept changing on me is because I had presets programmed. Those presets were programmed a certain way. So essentially, you could save that on a preset. You know, Gary said when I was talking about the increase and decrease tempo, he said something about you could save it on a preset. Well, that's what I did with this song that I'm going to try to play, but I have my own presets that I don't remember. I play the song two ways. One, I have one preset set, and I make all the changes as I go. And then one time, I did a class on it, and I made the preset so it did all of the changes. I got to see if I can get this page so it's easy for me to get to when it's time. All right. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about today, we have, that's why we have personal assistants. Now, yes, the personal assistants are very, very busy. I know Kerry, for example, his schedule is he's got 2 classes every day at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. He takes a lunch, and then he has 3 appointments every day, Monday through Saturday. And then somehow he has time to answer questions. Don, same aggressive schedule. We all have it. It's just me here by myself now, so I have a little bit of a busy schedule as well. But if you have a question, let us know. And if you don't know your personal assistant, just ask them, and I can either help you or find someone to help you. The song I'm going to finish up with is New York, New York, since we were talking about it. And if I do this right, and if I follow my own presets, actually I'm going to bring this a little closer so it's easier for me to turn the page here. I saved my preset so that, oh, stay. Okay. All right. Make that my page turner. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed the class today. I'll finish off with this little number. Towards the end of the song, apparently I do change tempos. Let's see, I start off a little bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, pretty clever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Make sure I hit the right numbers in the right places. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Keep our eye on the emails. We've got a lot of great things. Last week, I was going to do a Song of the Month class, and I just wasn't able to pull it together time-wise and job duties and all that. But tomorrow, I am going to have it. I've already got the email scheduled. The music's going to be in the email. It's going to be at 12:30 Arizona. That's 3:30 Eastern. So I'm going to do a Song of the Month class featuring a song that I can't say I love all these songs that I do, but featuring a good classic, Over the Rainbow. And then on Friday, I'm just going to continue the product spotlight series, where just every week I'm going to pick a different model to showcase and highlight. Just because I like to get a catalog of those and Let me get this real quick. Sorry. Let somebody in there. Sorry, bear with me, folks. Okay. So this week I'll have something fun planned, so I hope to see you there. Tell your friends to join us, have some fun with us. We'll finish off with a little New York, New York. And notice the tempo change. I'm going to actually use the preset. I'm not going to actually use the slow it down. Here we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hold the applause. Thank you. Stop it. Well, we hope it was worth coming to attending the class today and you learned something new. So stay in touch with us. This will be posted on our YouTube channel real soon and our Patreon as well on this. And stay safe. Keep playing music every day. And mwah, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Robert.
you. And thanks for the help, Gary. I'm always glad to have Gary. Every time I need to know something, he's my go-to guy. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.